Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing? Um, I just wanted to come on here. Um, I've been asked by so many groups to join this group, join that group. I've been invited to a couple of discussions. Um, and each time these discussions have happened, I have been either teaching a class or already scheduled for something else. So I just felt the need to come on and tell my truth because my life matters and because my children's lives matter and their children's lives matter. Um, Many of y'all don't know this about me, but my truth started when I was born. I had, um, I was born too light to be black and too black to be light. And when I say that, I mean I was told that I look like a little ghost with blonde hair. And even at my first doctor's appointment, my mom and dad are like a caramel color. And my mom told me that the doctor said she must look like the milkman because I didn't look like my mom. I looked like my dad, but my dad was in the waiting room and she didn't see my dad. But I took my traits from my grandfather, who was very fair skinned and they called him Red, and he had red hair. But because my grandfather colored his hair black, and we didn't find out until he was like 86 years old that he actually had red hair. Nobody knew where I came from, but I looked just like my dad. And now I look like my mom. But my story started at birth because they didn't know what to do with me. When I was 9 years old, I remember my dad taking us to an all white church, and we ended up integrating that church. I remember the threats that my mom and dad thought we didn't hear from people telling us, you can't come to this church, you can't do this, you can't do that. But my dad is a minister, and he said, God led me this way, so I'm taking my family this way. And there it was. I remember hearing Sniper March from my ducks when we would go to Sunday school, when we would go different places with the church. Why y'all got them with you? And what the word wasn't them, it was the N word. Now, this was back in the 70s. And back then, when you were a child, you hear these things, but you don't associate them with certain things because that's not the way we were taught. And as I grew up in high school, I was discriminated. Well, even before then, I was discriminated against because of the color of my skin by my own people because I'm too light, I'm stuck up, I'm this, I'm that. I was stuck in a stereotype because I'm too. And I became quiet into myself and I wrote a lot. I wrote about my feelings and I never said anything. And I conditioned myself to not saying anything, keeping my feelings to myself because it kept me out of trouble. Well, I became passive aggressive from that. And a lot of things I didn't participate in because I know they don't like me. I know they don't do this. I know they don't do that. When I finally got married for the first time and moved away from home, moved away from all of that, thought I had all my freedom to do what I wanted to do, I still got it. When I started my first home daycare, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. It was on a military base. And by then, I had become the type of person where you tell me what I can't do, I'm determined to prove you wrong because I stood by the sidelines most of my life, um, and just told everybody, let everybody tell me, oh, you can't join our group because of this. You can't join our group because of that. And then listen to them talk about me behind my back. And my self-esteem was like in the toilet until I was like 40 years old. 40 years old. I tried to keep myself um, from letting what I felt, the anxieties that had built up inside of me, I tried to keep it away from my children. And I put on my happy face and became this actor of, yes, everything's okay. And inside, I'm dying. A lot of us do that. Inside, we are dying and feel like dying. My anxiety gets to the point where when I talk about certain things and I watch certain things, my leg starts to shake and then my heart starts to race. And then I get cold. And I mean cold within. It could be warm as I don't know. It could be 90 degrees outside. And I am cold to my core. I can't sit through certain movies because of the buildup of the anxiety of all my life. I didn't realize it until I got in my 40s that I had this anxiety that bad, and it stemmed from my childhood and all the things that I went through. When I finally got my first home daycare, they told me what I couldn't do. I was determined to do it. When I moved to Alaska and met some friends there, it's totally different in Alaska. And I thought, finally, I got it. But then I cut my eye, and then there was discrimination against that. Oh, you can't see. Or you can't wear those goggles around the kids because I had those big goggles on that, you know, when you have cataracts removed, they give you these big goggles. But I had to wear those for a whole year because I had stitches in my eyeball. And they said, well, you got to protect yourself from the kids. They'll snatch them off. They'll do this. Yes, but I was determined. And all the things that they told me I couldn't do, I did do. And because when you're on a military base, you work as a total group, and it was like 50 home daycares on that base. Because I kept inviting the CDC, and that's the Child Development Center, not the CDC, as in the Center for Disease Control. I kept inviting the CDC to my house to do things with my kids. And they got mad. The other ladies got mad because I had to prove a point. I had to have them to see that I can run my daycare, that my kids do know this. But then they started wanting to go to the other people's houses and inspect their houses. So they got mad at me. Another thing. But I was still determined. When I moved back to Arkansas, to the lower 48, and I had a home daycare there. I was in a mixed neighborhood. Everything was fine. The minute we had the opportunity to move and do better for ourselves, and we moved into a predominantly white neighborhood. And when I say predominantly white, it was like about 300 or 400 houses in that neighborhood, and about 3 Black families in the whole neighborhood. The city officials stopped my house to find out who was coming to my house because I moved my home daycare there. They told me I didn't have a license to do a daycare, and I was licensed by the state, and it was hanging on my wall. They told me that um, I couldn't have any more than 3 children that were unrelated to me in my home at one time. They took me to court. They fined me. They they thought I had to go to city council meetings to fight just for the right to have a business and feed my children. I had to become a rattling wheel. The news, every news channel I contacted, the newspaper I contacted. I even went down to social services and called the newspapers and the news team, the television people, down to social services. So I could show that, I'm signing up for food stamps because the city won't give me the right to have a job, the job that I choose to feed my family. So this is a resort of your tax dollars. Thank you very much for your tax dollars. They got mad at me for that. They threatened to come and chop my satellite down. These are neighbors of mine. When I moved into this neighborhood, they stopped the whole state of Arkansas. Anybody who needed a license for home daycare, anybody who was applying for a license for home daycare, they shut it down for 2 months until my case was solved because of two little words. In their policy, it says that you had to get signatures or you had to mail them. Certified letter is and/or. That's what that technicality was that they were discriminating on me about because I did both. I got the signatures and I mailed out letters, the certified letters. I did both to cover my behind. But they discriminated against me about that. You can't have that so and so in here. But they had a nursing home in the neighborhood. They had a hair salon in the neighborhood. There was a gas station in the neighborhood. But I could not have a home daycare that housed 10 children because I caused too much traffic in the neighborhood. I fought the mayor of my city. I fought the councilman of my city. I had to go to the planning commission of my city. I had to fight every legal right just to feed my children, to have the right to have a home daycare in my city, in that neighborhood. And then they claimed that everything was grandfathered in, that I was a new business and I wasn't grandfathered in. And I was like, okay, so how long do you have to be in business to be grandfathered in? Well, when I found out the answer to that, well, the nursing home just got here 4 years ago. That's less than 20 years. And the hair salon just got here 15 years ago. That's less than 10 years. I mean, less than 20 years. So what's wrong with me having a home daycare, helping families, feeding my family? I don't have to live off of your tax dollars and receive a check every month and food stamps every month. But no, you can't do that. So I continued to go down to the food stamp office and I continued to call the newspapers and they got tired of me. I became a rattling wheel. It bothered me that I had to go through that. I got threatening calls from people I don't even know. The city council came and sat right outside across the street from my house, watching people go in and out of my house. The city officials. And then they called me and said, well, is so and so a relative of yours? Is this person a relative of yours? And I'm thinking, well, the only way you would know that somebody is at my house is if you're watching me. I called the police because somebody's stalking my house. Police never showed up. Now, when somebody calls your house and tells you who's coming in and out of your house, they've had to have gone either run the license plates and found out who's coming in and out of your house by the license plate. And because they never spoke to them, I had to basically shut down everything. They slapped a big orange sign on a post outside my house saying that I was not, this establishment was shut down and it was not, what were the words? That I couldn't work. I couldn't be in business. I ended up going down to one of the shops. It's like a shop walk. It's like an outlet mall. And one of the ladies there owned a dress shop, and she said, "You can set up a table out here and you can get a petition signed," because I wanted to get a petition signed for the city council. And I set up a table because they had even gotten down to the point where I called um, my councilman in my area, and he talked to me on the phone. "Oh, we're going to help you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Oh my gosh, that is such an injustice to you." And we made an appointment. And I came down to his office. And when I came in, I knocked on the door. He said, "Can I help you?" I told him who I was, and his face turned beet red. And then he started backtracking about how he couldn't help me. And so I had an appointment with the other, it was two of them in my area, two councilmen. And he came over. And when he walks through the door, now this councilman hadn't had time to call the other one. He walks through the door and he sees me. He said, uh, "You still in a meeting? I thought we had a meeting with so and so." He said, "This is her." His face turns a beet red. At this point, within me, I know they're not going to help me. They're going to look at me, they see my face, but they're not going to help me. So I ended up going down to the dress shop and setting up shop because at this point, they wanted teenagers to pay taxes on babysitting money. Teenagers. I babysat as a teenager. You don't make that much money as a teenager. Not back in 1997. You don't make that much money as a teenager on babysitting. And they wanted to pass a law because of me that teenagers had to pay taxes. And I felt it was wrong. So I sat at my table. I made flyers. I wrote speeches. I did everything that I could. And people would come by and I asked them to sign the petition. And they said, "Well, what is it for?" And I basically told them my story. And people, white, black, Asian, all of them, just started signing. I took it back to the council members and put it in this, but I made a point to get there to the council meeting early so I can put all these pages. I went and got copies of them. I kept the originals, but I went and got copies of all the signatures, addresses, phone numbers, everything, and placed them in front of them. When it was my turn to speak, I told them about the petition. I told them what I was doing. I told them what was going on. They still, "Oh, well, you don't know how to, your kids, it'll be dangerous for them because they don't know how to get out of the house. You can start a fire and they won't have, uh, you can't get everybody out of the house." It was always one thing after another after another. So I had my parents come to the next council meeting, bring my kids with me. They brought the kids with them. And I told the kids, "We're going to have a fire drill. Are you ready?" And they said, "Yes." I said, "Okay. I'm not going to let you know when it happens because that's what I normally did in my home daycare. We have fire drills every month, and each time a new child came into my daycare, we had a fire drill." So, my 2 minutes, I told them what I wanted to tell them. My last 30 seconds, I hit the alarm on that fire, the smoke detector. The kids ran to the wall, grabbed hands, and shouted, "We're ready." I grabbed the first one's hand and we walked on out the door. Of course, the fireman that was there at the meeting came out and said, "Don't ever do that again, but I like your style. I like the way you did that. You just showed them that your kids are more smarter than half the people in that room because they don't have an escape plan." These are the type of things that I have had to go through to prove myself that I am good enough, that I know what I'm doing. It just irks me that the world is in the state that it is in. And I know I'm not the only one that has had their um, fair share of discrimination. But to receive it from both sides, I'm too light to be black. I'm too dark to be white. Why are you trying to pass? I've never tried to pass as anything other than who I am. I'm very, I'm very passive. I used to be very passive aggressive. I'm working on that. I used to wait until things got up to here before I said anything. And when I said something, it was very explosive. I know my limitations. I know what I can tolerate and what I can't tolerate. I know the anxiety within me because it's building now. And when it comes to race relations, all the stuff, all the things, even while nannying, I talk to people on the phone. When I get to their door, they're looking at me like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "We have an appointment at 1 o'clock." I even had one woman open the door wider and stick her head out, looking around like, "Did you hide the person that was really supposed to be here?" I went through those interviews. And by the time they got done with those interviews, they wanted me to be their nanny. But because of their first reaction, I knew I could not stay and take care of it wasn't the children, it was the parents. Because of your first reaction to me, because people used to tease me, "Oh, you got on your Becky voice." My Becky voice? Am I not supposed to be able to speak correct English without you thinking that I'm trying to be white? Without you thinking that I'm trying to be something that I am not? Now, when I'm with my friends, oh yeah, we joke around, we talk, we do whatever. When it comes to my business, I am very professional. And if my professional voice versus my, "Hey, I'm with my friends" voice is me trying to be Becky, not so much. That doesn't go over well with me. It is taking everything within me to stay calm right now. There are tears in my eyes. I know that when I talk about racism, when I talk about the things that have happened to me, the things that are going on in this world today, I get outraged. I can't stay calm. But I'd rather come on here and talk to you about myself than get caught up in on somebody else's platform and act a fool. Everybody has triggers. I know my trigger. I support my sisters. I support my brothers. I support everyone who's in this movement. But just because I'm not out there, just because I am not out there being boisterous and vocalizing everything that everybody else is doing, does not mean that I don't feel it. Does not mean that it does not hurt. I am working to overcome my passive aggressiveness because I'm at the point I'm past the passive. I'm at aggressive, at the top level of aggressive right now. But I choose to stay positive. I choose to use my platform, not for everybody else to come on and say that what they have to say. I choose to use my platform for me, for positivity, to continue the work that I have done. I am determined. Just like when you told me I couldn't do certain things, that way back when, I look back at those people, the two men, my councilmen, they're in jail right now. You know, God don't like ugly. Because while they were fighting against me, they were embezzling money from the city. Now, I found this out years after my fight was over with them. But they're in jail right now for their wrongdoings. Does that make me happy? No, it doesn't make me happy. But I know God don't like ugly. And what's done now, you can't see it, but God's working on it. And justice will be had. So whatever was in their hearts against me, whatever they were trying to take from me, you can't take what God has for me. God has a way of coming around and blessing me even bigger, even better. But what he will do is bring you down to size. That is what's going to happen. Change is inevitable, whether you want it to or not. Change is inevitable. And I know how I feel every time I read about racism. It stirs all those old feelings up in me. And I have to get back to my happy place because I don't like going to work angry. I don't like having frustrations and then have to put on this mask every day because I am mad, because I am frustrated. My husband is a news hound and he watches the news every morning. I don't start my day with the news. I start my day with praise and worship to make me feel good, to get in my happy place. Because I know I have children to take care of. I know that I have to be that mentor, that guide, the moral compass to teach them not just about racism. That ain't got nothing to do with it. I have to be on so that I can teach them how to be happy with themselves, how to love on themselves, how to not be the person that I was. It took me 40 years to feel like I was good enough. 40 years of wrong decisions because I didn't feel good enough. I didn't love myself most of those years. I was just going through the motions. When I found myself and I found my peace and I found my happiness, it takes years to uncondition yourself from years, decades of what you feel because I'm too light to be black. I'm too black to be white. That's my story. And if you don't know anything about me and you just see me for the first time today, know that I am determined to stay positive, determined to see the good in people. Yes, I have been called a Pollyanna. I am determined that my friends, see, I don't call them my white friends, my black friends, my Latino friends, my this friend. I don't label my friends. My friends are my friends. They have sat at my table. They have eaten from my hands have prepared food for them. I have sit at their table. I have eaten with them. I have played with their children, their dogs, met their grandmas and met their grandpas. I am made to feel like I am a part of their family because I am invited to family functions, not as the help, not as the can you come give us some cooking tips? No, you sit down. How can we serve you? Now, me being the person that I am and the way of my home training, yes, I'm gonna get up and help. What can I help you with? Because that's just who I am. But that's not who I was invited there for. So my friends are my friends, regardless of what color, what nationalism, what their ethnic background is. My friends are my friends. And my friends will remain my friends because my friends know my story. And now you know my story. But this story doesn't end here. I got too much work to do. Too much. I got 3 different things I need to do today. I got 2 meetings and a class to teach. So my story doesn't end here. I just wanted you to know, just because you haven't seen me on different forums and different places where everybody's gathering and talking, that I'm not here. I'm right here. I'm here. I'm working. I'm working towards making things better. I know we all have a lot of negativity inside of us. I know we're feeling a lot of anger and disappointment, and friends are losing friends and unfriending people and all that. If you feel the need to unfriend me, I love myself enough now where it won't affect me. I love myself enough now where I know I am good enough. Whether I'm white or black or whatever you want to call me, I'm good enough. I will always be good enough because the people who judge me have not walked in my shoes. The people who hate me have not seen what I've been through. They have not felt what I've been through. You don't know me until you have come and sat down and talked with me and shared my story and feel my pain and weep with me and cry with me and laugh with me and talk with me and eat with me and drown in my sorrows and rejoice in my happiness. You don't know me. You know what I let you see. And that's how a lot of us are. We have a mask and we only know what you let us see. So don't judge people by what you see until you get to know them. And I don't care what color they are. Yes, all lives matter. But this Black Lives Matter is not about that. We are just tired of the injustice against us. And we need for you to understand that. We never said all lives don't matter because they do. All of my friends' lives matter to me. Because if I lose one, I'm going to grieve. I'm going to be mad at whatever, whether it's somebody that got hit by a car, a bus, cancer, illness, whatever, sudden death, heart attack. I'm going to be mad because they were taken away from me by whatever means they were taken away from me. I will be mad. So don't think you know people until you get to know them. Take the time to get to know them. Don't just judge them by the clothes that they wear. Don't judge them by the hair. Don't judge them by their speech. Judge them by their heart. And the only way you will know their heart is if you get to know them. You have to get to know their heart, and that takes time. Stop passing judgment because that's really what's going on. Everybody's passing judgment. I see you. I don't like you. I don't like it because you got those red shoes on that I want. I'm envious and I don't like you. I don't like you because you got the hairstyle. Your hair is perfect every time I see you. And I don't like you. You don't even know them. You don't even know. It could be a wig, but you think their hair is so perfect. They could be bald and trying to grow their hair up under that wig, but you don't like them because their hair is so perfect. And you can't get yours perfect. And you have hair and they don't. They wish they had your hair. But you're envious of something that you don't even know about. You're mad at something that you haven't even taken the time to find out about. Stop getting so angry over things that you have no clue about. Take the time to ask. Take the time to get to know people for who they really are, and not the mask that they have put on for you. Because this is how I'm supposed to act when I go to this place. This is how I'm supposed to act when I go to that place. I can't be myself. They won't like me if I'm myself. Been there, done that so many times that I refuse to do it again. What you see is me. No mask here. Yeah, y'all see me on Ask the Nanny, and I'm happy and I'm jolly but I tell you the truth in jest, but it's still the truth. But what you don't see is that I worship and I pray before I go on Ask the Nanny. Half the time I'm running around like a chicken with a head cut off. Okay, it's 6:59. Let me hurry up. I gotta get there by 7 o'clock. Ding! Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ask the Nanny. Yes, that's what you see because I'm in education mode. I'm here to teach. I'm here to get points across to you in ways that you will accept them. Because sometimes it's hard to accept the truth at a blatant, yeah, girl, don't do that. If I tell you in a scenario, if I tell you in a story, if I bring it home to you, you can see it better. That's what mode I'm in. When I'm off camera, you ask anybody that has been in my house, anybody has been to an Ask the Nanny um, Sunday social, ask them. I'm totally different. There are many sides to me. Get to know all my sides. Same with other people. Get to know all their sides. Don't pass judgment on them. because you don't know them. And even when you think you know them, there's still stuff that you don't know. Because everybody doesn't tell everything. I'm just saying. But this is me. My life matters. May not matter to you, but it matters to me. And I'm going to do what keeps me happy. I'm going to do what keeps me in my happy place. I'm not going to be that passive aggressive person anymore. And I have to speak to that every day because I will fall back into that and just let things pass and pass and pass. And then when it gets to the point, you may see me on that right wrong day, and you may say something that has been bugging me for a while, and then I explode, and you're looking at me like, "What the heck is wrong with you? What did I say? What did I do?" I'm working on that. I'm working on saying it when it happens instead of letting it build up, and whoever's closest by gets the explosion. I'm working on that. So just because you don't see me plastered all over the internet preaching Black Lives Matter does not mean I am not down with the cause, because I am. But I also realize I got to take care of me before I can take care of anybody else. And that's what you should be doing too. You got to take care of you and your emotionals. Well, that's not even a word. Your emotions. I just came up with a new word. Your emotionals. Okay, y'all will hear me using that from now on. But take the time to do some self examination. Take the time to realize, is this really me? Am I covering up stuff that, I don't need to cover up? Can I trust me to be me around other people? Can I stop wearing the mask and really just be myself? That takes years for some people. I'm still working on being just me and not pretending to be something that I'm not, just so people will like me. I was that people pleaser because being discriminated on both sides, I'm like, well, who likes me? Who am I? I just wanted to be liked. And I thought, well, I'll use my allowance and I'll buy them this and I'll buy them that and they'll like me. Yeah, until the money runs out, they like you. I'm broke. Nobody's hanging around me. I'm sitting alone at lunch because the money's gone. And they know exactly when I get paid my allowance because here they come. We want to be your friend again so we can get all the candy and whatever else you got. And I'm all happy, joy, yay, and for 2 or 3 days. And then I'm alone again. And how long does it take you to learn that they don't like you? They only here for your money? Years. That's what it took me. Years to figure out they don't really like you. They're just in it for what they can get out of you. Given the fact I am a giver by nature, my dad was too. And being a giver is hard to stop giving. It's hard to be a receiver. People give me compliments and I'm like, but your hair is so much better. You're this and you're that. I had trouble receiving compliments. That's how bad I was. Somebody gives me a gift and I'm like, for me? Really? You sure you want to get this to me? That's how bad I was. That's how low my self esteem was. And that's why when I tell you When I'm on Ask the Nanny, when I tell you, come out of that shell, speak up for yourself. It takes time. And I know what you feel like. I know how hard it is to speak up and say something for the fear of not being liked, the fear of losing your job, the fear will rule you, and fear will ruin you. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid to tell my truth. I refuse to go back to the person that I was. I'm still working on who I am, but I'm not going back to where I was. I love you all. I want peace for you all. I want the inner turmoil to quit churning. And if you're going to do something positive. I fight differently. I'm not the boisterous person, but when I fight, you know I'm on it. I become the rattling wheel. I'm the one that you turn around and the punch is in your face and you didn't even see it coming. That's me. Not a physical punch, but you know I've been there. I fight totally different. And I will weave and bob and get down into the creases and the crevices where you didn't even know existed. I find ways. I'm like this investigative reporter. I find just a little bitty, oh, got something. And I hang on to it and take it to the nth degree. That's me. So just because you don't see me plastered doesn't mean I'm not doing anything. I'm working. You can't see it, but you will feel it. So I'm going to get off of here because I have a meeting in 1 hour and I need to go prepare. So you all have a wonderful Sunday. Thank you all for listening. I will go back and read the comments later. I didn't want to read the comments now because I knew I would get distracted and not stay on task. So thank you all. I love you all. And I will see you on tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock on Ask the Nanny.